Hey guys, Factoid here. I bet you didn't know just how insane the International Space Station really is. But before we blast off, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Welcome back to the channel. So, I have a question for you. What's the most extreme place a human has ever lived? Maybe you're thinking of a research station in Antarctica or a submarine deep under the ocean. But what if I told you there's a place where people live while hurtling through a vacuum at impossible speeds, where the sun rises and sets 16 times a day? Today we are diving deep into the single most incredible structure humanity has ever built, the International Space Station. And I've got 10 facts about it that are going to absolutely blow your mind. Now you've probably seen pictures of the ISS, this giant, beautiful machine floating gracefully above our planet. It looks peaceful, right? But the reality of what's happening up there is pure, controlled chaos. It's a testament to human ingenuity, collaboration, and our unyielding curiosity to explore the unknown. I spent weeks digging into this, and some of the things I found are so wild, they sound like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. But I promise you, every single one is 100% real. So buckle up, because we're about to take a tour of this billion-dollar space laboratory. We'll cover everything from its mind-boggling speed to the slightly gross way astronauts get their drinking water. By the end of this video, you will look at that tiny dot moving across the night sky in a completely new way. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss a single one of these facts. Let's get into it. Alright, let's kick things off with fact number 1. And this one is all about speed. We all know the ISS is fast, but the numbers are just staggering. The station travels at an incredible 28,000 kilometers per hour. That's about 17,500 miles per hour for my friends in the US. To put that in perspective, that is not just fast, that is ludicrously fast. It's roughly 7.66 kilometers or almost 5 miles every single second. If you blink, which takes about a third of a second, the ISS has already traveled over 2.5 kilometers. That's like going from one end of a city to the other in the time it takes to flutter your eyelashes. Think about it this way, a bullet fired from a high-powered rifle travels at about 1 kilometer per second. The ISS is moving nearly 8 times faster than that. It's so fast that it completes a full orbit around our entire planet every 90 minutes. That means while you're sitting down to watch a movie, the astronauts on board have done a full lap around the Earth. This constant high-speed journey is what keeps the station in orbit, in a perpetual state of falling towards Earth but always moving fast enough to miss it. It's a delicate high-speed dance with gravity, and it's happening right now, 400 kilometers above your head. So we know the ISS is ridiculously fast, but what about its size? For fact number 2, let's talk scale. When you see it in pictures, it can be hard to grasp just how massive this thing really is. The main structure, called the truss, which is the long backbone with all the solar panels, stretches a whopping 109 meters, or 357 feet. That is literally the length of an American football field, including the end zones. Imagine taking an entire football stadium's playing surface and launching it into orbit. That's the scale we're talking about here. It's the largest single structure humans have ever put into space by a long shot. And it's not just long, it's a sprawling complex. The total pressurized volume, which is the area where the astronauts live and work, is roughly equivalent to the inside of a Boeing 747 jumbo jet. So you have this football field-sized structure, with living quarters comparable to a massive airplane, all assembled piece by piece in the most hostile environment known to man. It took over 40 separate missions and more than 1,000 hours of spacewalks by astronauts from different countries to put it all together. It's less like a satellite and more like a floating man-made island dedicated to science. Okay, this next fact is one of those things that just messes with your brain. Because the ISS orbits the Earth every 90 minutes, the astronauts on board get to witness something truly extraordinary. Fact number 3, they see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every single day. Let that sink in. In the same 24-hour period that we experience just one sunrise and one sunset down here on Earth, they get a complete cycle of day and night every hour and a half. It's a constant, beautiful light show. 1 minute they're bathed in brilliant sunlight, and 45 minutes later, they're plunged into total darkness, soaring over the glittering lights of our cities at night. This creates some pretty unique challenges. Imagine trying to get a good night's sleep when the sun is blasting through your window every 90 minutes. To deal with this, the station's schedule is meticulously planned. They operate on Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT, to have a consistent time zone for the international crew. The windows in the sleeping quarters have special shutters to block out the light, creating an artificial night so the astronauts can maintain a normal circadian rhythm. But when they're working in the cupola, the station's 7-windowed observatory, they're treated to a view that is simply beyond compare, a constantly shifting cosmic spectacle. For our fourth fact, we're moving from the physics of the station to its history, and this one really highlights its significance. The International Space Station has been continuously occupied by humans since November 2, 2000. That's right, for over 2 decades, there hasn't been a single moment when there wasn't at least one person living and working in orbit. Since Expedition 1 arrived, a steady stream of astronauts from all over the world has kept the lights on, ensuring an unbroken human presence off-planet. This is a monumental achievement in the history of exploration. Think about what that means. For an entire generation of people born after the year 2000, humanity has never been confined solely to Earth. There has always been a small outpost of our species living in space. This continuous habitation has turned the ISS from a temporary mission into a permanent home and laboratory. It's allowed for long-duration studies on how the human body adapts to space, something that is absolutely critical if we ever want to travel to Mars or beyond. It's a quiet, constant reminder that we are a spacefaring species, and our journey into the cosmos is not just a series of visits, but a permanent expansion of our horizons. Building and operating something as complex as the ISS isn't a job for one country, and that brings us to fact number 5. The station is one of the greatest examples of international collaboration in human history. It's a joint project between 5 different space agencies representing 15 countries. You have NASA from the United States, Roscosmos from Russia, JAXA from Japan, the European Space Agency, and the Canadian Space Agency. These are nations that have, at times, been political rivals on Earth, but in space, they work together as a single unified team. This is global cooperation on a cosmic scale. Each partner contributed major components to the station. The Russians provided the first modules and handled the propulsion systems. The US provided the main truss, the solar arrays, and the primary laboratory. Japan contributed the Kibo lab with its amazing external porch for experiments, and Europe built the Columbus lab. Canada is famous for the Canadarm2, the giant robotic arm that helped build the station and now helps with maintenance and capturing visiting spacecraft. It's like the world's most complicated and expensive Lego set, with instructions written in 5 different languages, assembled in 0 gravity. It's a powerful symbol of what we can achieve when we work together. Alright, get ready for a fact that is both incredibly cool and a little bit gross. Fact number 6 is all about water. Launching anything into space is insanely expensive and water is heavy. So, launching enough fresh water for the crew for months at a time just isn't practical. The solution? The ISS has an advanced water recovery system that recycles about 93% of all the water on board. And when I say all the water, I mean the water. This includes moisture from the cabin air, which is basically the astronauts' breath and sweat, and yes, even their urine. I know it sounds pretty disgusting, but the system is so effective that the water it produces is actually purer than the tap water most of us drink on Earth. The urine is put through a special distiller that separates the water from the other stuff. That water vapor is then combined with all the other collected wastewater and sent through a series of incredibly sophisticated filters. Astronauts have joked that today's coffee is tomorrow's coffee, and they're not wrong. This technology isn't just crucial for long-term space missions to places like Mars, it could also be a game-changer for providing clean drinking water in remote and disaster-stricken areas right here on Earth. Here is a fun side effect of living in space that you probably didn't know about. Fact number 7. Spending time in microgravity actually makes astronauts grow taller. No, it's not a superpower, but it's a real and measurable phenomenon. On Earth, the constant force of gravity compresses our spines. The vertebral discs, which are the little jelly-like cushions between our vertebrae, are always being squeezed. But when you get to space and you're floating around in microgravity, that constant downward pressure is gone. The spine is free to relax and expand. As a result, astronauts can grow up to 3% of their original height. For someone who is 6 feet tall, or about 180 centimeters, That could mean gaining over 2 inches or 5 centimeters in height. It's a temporary change, of course. Once they return to Earth and have to deal with gravity again, their spines gradually recompress, and they return to their normal height within a few months. But it's a fascinating example of how the human body adapts to a new environment. It also means NASA has to make sure their spacesuits and the capsules for the ride home can accommodate a slightly taller astronaut than the one who launched. This next fact is one of my favorites because it's something you can actually go out and experience for yourself. Fact number 8. The ISS is visible from Earth with the naked eye. You don't need a telescope or even binoculars. Because of its massive size and its highly reflective solar panels, it's actually the third brightest object in the night sky, after the Moon and Venus. It looks like a very bright, fast-moving star, gliding silently across the sky. It doesn't blink like an airplane, it's just a steady, brilliant point of light on a determined path. Seeing it for the first time is a truly magical experience. And the best part is, it's super easy to find out when it will be passing over your location. NASA has a website called Spot the Station, where you can sign up for email or text alerts. It will tell you the exact time, direction, and duration of the flyover. It usually only lasts for a few minutes as it crosses the sky, so you have to be ready. Knowing that what you're seeing isn't just a star, but a $100 billion space laboratory with humans living inside, traveling at 28,000 kilometers per hour, is just awe-inspiring. I seriously recommend you try it. It connects you to what's happening up there in a really personal way. While all the facts about living in space are cool, the primary purpose of the ISS is science. And that brings us to fact number 9. Since its assembly, over 3,000 scientific experiments from researchers in more than 100 countries have been conducted on board. The station is a unique, world-class laboratory that offers something you can't get anywhere on Earth: a long-term, microgravity environment. This allows scientists to study things in a way that is simply impossible down here, where gravity's effects interfere with everything. The research is incredibly diverse. They've studied everything from growing new protein crystals for drug development, to understanding how fire behaves in space to improve fire safety on Earth. They've tested new materials, studied fluid physics, and conducted groundbreaking research in human biology to learn more about diseases like osteoporosis and muscle atrophy. The ISS is also a crucial platform for Earth observation, monitoring climate change, deforestation, and natural disasters. Every experiment conducted adds to our collective knowledge and often leads to tangible benefits and new technologies that improve our lives back on the ground. Last but not least, let's talk about the price tag. Fact number 10. The International Space Station is, by a very wide margin, the single most expensive object ever constructed by humankind. The estimated cost to build and maintain the station over its lifetime is well over $150 billion. That is a number so large it's almost impossible to comprehend. To try and put it in perspective, with that amount of money, you could build the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, more than 100 times over. Or you could buy every single team in the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball combined, and still have billions left over. So why spend so much? Because it's an investment in our future. It's the price of pushing the boundaries of science, technology, and exploration. The cost is shared between the 15 partner nations, making it a global investment. The technological breakthroughs, the scientific discoveries, and the inspiration it provides to a new generation of scientists and engineers are, for many, priceless. It's the cost of maintaining a permanent foothold for humanity in the cosmos, a stepping stone for our future journeys to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. It's an audacious, expensive, and magnificent declaration of what we can do when we dream big. And there you have it. 10 facts that prove the International Space Station is one of the most mind-blowing achievements in all of human history. From its insane speed and colossal size to the fact that astronauts are drinking recycled pea water, it's a place of extremes. For me, the idea of seeing 16 sunrises a day is just so wild to think about, but the sheer scale of the international teamwork is probably the most inspiring part. We built a city in the sky by working together. It's just incredible. Now I want to hear from you. What was your favorite fact? Was it the price tag, the fact that you can see it from your own backyard? Or maybe the temporary height gain? Let me know down in the comments below. I love reading through them and seeing what resonates with you guys the most. These discussions are the best part of making these videos, so don't be shy. Join the conversation. I'm genuinely curious to find out which fact blew your mind. And if you enjoyed this journey into space and you love learning about science, engineering, and the amazing world around us, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We've got so many more exciting projects and deep dives planned, and you won't want to miss what's coming up next. As always, thank you so much for watching and for your curiosity. I'll see you in the next one.